right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So we have an interesting report coming out here early this morning from The Athletic highlighting three separate teams that are currently eyeing Mike Williams. There's so many trade rumors right now surrounding the Jets organization, right? We just got past the Davante Adams trade. That's official. Adams is a Jet. But now we're getting rumors about Hassan Reddick. We heard yesterday that the Lions checked in with the Jets for, Hassan, and they're, both Reddick and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, they're currently kind of exploring trade options independently, right? The Jets have given, they've green lighted that. But then on the other end, right, the offensive side of the football, Mike Williams is garnering some trade interest. Now, there's a big financial reason, like the Jets need to get rid of Mike Williams because there's just so many assets invested in this wide receiving core, whether it's draft picks, right? Garrett Wilson, top 10 pick, Malachi Corley, first pick in the third round. Allen Lazard brought in on a 4-year, $44 million deal. We can talk about, of course, Davante Adams coming in and restructuring his contract. And there's even talks there that Adams wants a new long-term deal. And then, of course, we have to factor in Mike Williams' contract. So from what I've noticed, it does seem like there's like a 50-50 split, right? A good section of Jets fans want to keep Mike Williams around. And then the other half is like, you know what? There's only one ball to go around. Let's just trade him away. I think both sides have really good arguments. And, you're looking at Mike Williams on the year so far, only 10 catches for 145 yards. I was expecting Mike Williams to have a bigger role with the Jets offense, if I'm just being completely honest. I felt as though he was going to come in and kind of be that guaranteed number 2 wide receiver. But it really just feels like that role is Allen Lazard's, and Rodgers, right, despite the drops, Rodgers is just going to continue to feed Lazard on top of the numbers, right? We all watched, Hard Knocks last season and heard Randall Cobb talking about, oh, well, if Rodgers doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball. And so it does feel as though Garrett is Rodgers' number 1 option, Lazard is number 2, and Mike Williams is not in that top 3. Again, based off of the numbers, based off of the targets, based off of just, situations where Rodgers is throwing the football. We heard Aaron call out Mike Williams after the Bills game, saying that he ran the wrong route, and kind of voiced that multiple times. It's not like it slipped or anything, but he just said, no, Mike Williams ran the wrong route. Following those comments, Mike Williams sat out of practice due to personal reasons. And so it just feels inevitable that Mike Williams will get moved here. Now, there is an argument to keep him around. Why? Because he's still a good player. I was totally excited when the Jets got him. I felt like a lot of Jets fans were excited. I just feel like he's not really being targeted all that much. It's not like he's disappointing out there. And plus, we have to factor in that he is coming off a season-ending injury last year. So he's still trying to work his way back. I felt like, in certain situations, right, a toe tap on the sidelines, a tough grab over the middle of the field, and he knows he's going to get blasted by a safety, but still hangs on to the ball. Those are moments where I'm like, okay, that's vintage Mike Williams right there. If we could just get that a little bit more consistently, we should have a really, really good player here on the outside to take some of the pressure off of Garrett. But now with Davante Adams coming in, he's going to assume the role of the number 1 wide receiver, which then, just shoves everyone down the totem pole, which is unfortunate, right? Because I do like Mike. I think he is an explosive player, and I do think he adds an element to this Jets offense, as well as depth, right? What happens if Davante Adams gets hurt in 2 weeks? We're going to need another wide receiver. What happens if Garrett Wilson goes down? What happens if, Aaron's guy Lazard goes down? We're going to need someone else. But to be fair, if we can't even get Corley on the field for some unknown reason, right? Supposedly he's still learning the NFL offense or something. He's first pick in the third round. He's not even dressing for games. And Mike Williams isn't really getting a lot of targets as is. Xavier Gibson, it's not like he's, racking up a ton of yards and a ton of catches. They just don't they don't throw him the football either. It's clear, right? Rodgers has his guys. There's an effort to get Ruckert involved a lot over the middle of the field. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the 3 teams that were mentioned here from The Athletic, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the LA Chargers, and the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Steelers and the Saints were heavily involved with the Davante Adams talks. It's pretty clear that Pittsburgh wants to add another receiver. with them being interested in Brandon Ayuk. I know Amari Cooper got moved, but he was coming from Cleveland. The Browns are not going to help out the Pittsburgh Steelers like that, so he was off the table. Mike Williams to Pittsburgh, that to me makes a lot of sense. Now, unfortunately, the Steelers are a good team. We play them this week, and they're in the AFC, so do the Jets maybe want to hold off a week on sending him to Pittsburgh, or do they want to just take the best offer and just say, who cares? Let's just move on and, collect what we can collect. I think the Chargers, that's obviously interesting. They let him go. They flat out released him this offseason. It'd be interesting to see if they bring him back. Although I do feel like he would fit in the Harbaugh system, like as a deep shot type of guy. And then New Orleans also, they are kind of sniffing around the wide receiver market, but they're just so hurt. Like that, you look at the Saints team, they just have injuries all over the place, and they're currently on a losing streak, right? So with injuries to with Shaheed, with Olave having the concussion, along with Derek Carr being hurt, it's pretty clear that the Saints need some offensive life. They need some offensive juice to step in and kind of energize that room. Is Mike Williams that guy? I think it could definitely help. So I think all three teams make logical sense. And if the Jets part ways with them, I personally want something nice. We're not just giving away a player who's like unproven or a player who's really expensive and we just need to get rid of him because we want to clear $20 million. Mike Williams is a good player. He's on a relatively cheap contract. He's being traded because the Jets can't get him the football or aren't getting him the football. It's not like he's terrible, so because of that, and because of the fact that there are multiple teams that are looking for a wide receiver, I don't want to trade him for some conditional 7th round pick or some future 6th round pick in 2026 or some weird deal like that. I want a mid-round pick for Mike Williams. I don't think we're going to get a 3rd, but if we can get, maybe a late 4th, I think that'd be fair. Or if we do end up trading a late round pick, ideally I would want 2, right? Like a 6th this year and a 7th next year or something like that. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Where do you stand on this? Do you want the Jets to trade Mike Williams and recoup a pick, clear some of the money? Or do you say, you know what? No, let's just hang on to him. Football's, injuries could happen. Win now, pressure, keep the talent, keep the depth, and move forward. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And as always, go Jets.